Hello, everybody. Hi. I see Jonas is here, Priscilla. Uh, uh, hi. It's so good to see everyone today. We have a little bit of a surprise. I'm waiting on the deck. I'm going to start integrating the patents that I have into the Root U call so that I can help explain to you guys. I know Clayton and Priscilla have done a lot of things, as well as Patrick and Ted and all of us, to try to control the scenario of how our products are different, what we make and how they're made, without giving away every single thing about the products. And I think for you all, here's what I want to say. I am not in sales and marketing at Root. However, if you ask me, do I understand sales and marketing and business? Yes. I have been a businesswoman.
Yes.
Yes, throughout my life. So there's nothing that anytime I make a formula, anything I do, I really think on the backside, how is this going to work so that we can touch more people, right? So we can help more people from a mental, emotional, physical, spiritual aspect, but also how do we utilize it to sell and market things correctly without breaking any rules? So I just want to say this before we start. The medical disclaimer needs to be shown. And obviously, we are not claiming to cure, prevent, diagnose, or any of those things Germany tells us we can't do. We're not claiming that we're doing that. We're not a physician or qualified. Even if we are a physician, we're not here as physicians to treat people, right? We're here to guide a company with supplements and natural products that can help people be as great as possible. One second, guys, I'm going to shut my door. So with that in mind, I'm going to bring up some things that are our patents. So you know that we have 7 patents approved to this point. I do. They are under Christina Cook. The rest of them that are being filed are under Christina Rom. But the purpose of the patents, again, were to help with the land, air, and water, people and animals. And I've had such a great couple of weeks with amazing women that have inspired me. I had Dr. King, and Dr. King is the niece of Martin Luther King. Her grandparents were the same grandparents as his children. Amazing female in this country. What Martin Luther King did for minorities and for equality is one of the most significant stories in our history. And the family has done tons of stuff from a business, political, healthcare perspective. And Alvita and I Dr. King and I did a podcast yesterday, and she was also in my home and in our office last week. And she said to me, Christina, and I'm sorry that I'm quoting the Bible. This is not a biblical talk, but she was quoting different things about how we're supposed to love everyone and how there is not something that says we love everyone but this person, right? We love everyone but someone that's a different religion. We love everyone but someone that's a different color. We love everyone, and here's the big thing now that's happening. We love everyone unless they have a different opinion than I do. That's how the world's divided. You got the right and you got the left, and they're fighting regardless of what country you are, whether it's a fight over the vaccination or not being vaccinated, or whether it's a fight over the economy and gold or banking or pharmaceuticals versus nutraceuticals. We've got to stop fighting. We are here to create peace and love and greatness. And if we can't get out of our way because of our bitterness and anger, because we want to always be right and we don't want to listen to someone else's opinion, then we aren't very smart and we aren't very good. Because the truth is, we are here to have different opinions. We are here to discuss them. There is not one person on this call, including me, that has all the answers. We have to care about people whether they had a shot or not. We care about people whether they decide to do chemotherapy or not, right? The thing that's so important is to have the right intention and to do the right thing for others. And that's what Root has to do. We got to get out of our way. And I have to say this, if there are ambassadors that simply can't get out of their way because they think they're right and they don't want to listen to what everyone else thinks or feels, then they're the wrong ambassadors for Root, because the truth is we are here to create a movement. And I think we've got to remember this. And thankfully our numbers are going up again. So this will help you all from an economic perspective, but also we have to remember why we're doing this. We either were honest in the beginning and saying we're doing this so we can help people throughout the world to have better lives, or we weren't honest. We were just doing it to get attention, or we were just doing it to make quick money. And I don't believe that's why the people on this call are here. I think that we are here to make a difference in the world. And I'm going to show you guys how what we have is different than other supplements. So Patrick, if we could start with the beginning slide deck before we get into the other components, we're going to do a quick download on one of the patents. And I'm going to talk to you guys about the patent, and then we're going to switch you guys and bring in Priscilla and have a couple of other people talking about their experiences. And then we're going to go into a prevention slide deck with diet if we have time. So here's your disclaimer. I just talked about it. We don't claim to treat, diagnose, mitigate, prevent, or cure diseases. You guys have to talk to another qualified healthcare professional. This is why I'm extremely careful when people ask me questions. It's not because I don't want to answer them. It's because I made the products and I want our company to be safe. So anytime I don't answer something or it's cryptic, guys, just know it's because I'm protecting you all in the company. It's not that I don't want to answer. I love answering science questions. I love having a good debate scientifically too when it comes to an application that involves true science. But I have to be very careful. But I'm going to provide some information today that I think will help you in more than one way with your business as well as your healthcare knowledge. Let's go on to the slide. So we are, this is a new patent that I just got approved. It was patent pending. It's now patented, and the technology is being used in the Root products. So when you talk about the products, the next one I'd like to show next week, Patrick, is the lectin, because I think this will bring visibility into the Root community and the ambassadors so they understand how the products were made. But in almost all the patents, when we go into manufacturing and we are taking over and buying our main manufacturing and lab and clean room, I fly to Vegas and to get that done this week and next week. And then, as you guys know, we are building with the state of South Carolina, manufacturing there as well. And then we have 8 other manufacturing plants that we do part of the different formulations from. If you ask me how are our patents different, I want to explain this to you all. I worked on a permeable and semi-permeable substrate and substance, and I did it in numerous ways. I basically was able to put together materials that would help filtrate and diffuse any substances that was toxic, right? So when I talk about our patents and our products are different, one of the reasons it's different is the water and filtration systems that are used to clean the plants and clean the vitamins and minerals. The reason buying manufacturing is so imperative to us is once I leave manufacturing, I can't control everything that goes on. But us stepping in right now, we are going to go even a step further. When I wrote these patents, just so everyone knows, I did a water purification system, and I even did a food packaging system and how to package food and materials, water, vitamins and minerals, everything. I did a whole system on how we would do that in the most effective way to prevent toxins from the environment going into any product, and also to take substances out that were already there. So if you ask me who else has this patent, No one has this patent because I couldn't have gotten the patent if someone else had it, right? I had to be able to design things that would really clean and filtrate the pollution from the world out of even packaging. So food, water, packaging, even devices. So what does that mean? When I wrote this patent, I also came up with an air filter. I came up with a filter that could be used on planes. I came up with something that could be used in your kitchen with water, that could be used in your pool, that could be used in its own filtration device. And all of that was a primary focus of this, along with making sure that we're able to filtrate and diffuse negative substances out of plants, foods, water, etc. I did a customizable permeability, and what that means is I was able to show different ways to adjust it depending on what vitamins, minerals, food, or water that you're using or device that you're trying to create, so that we would be able to have a whole line of products that we can roll out to the root community to help your lives be better. I put in there a device that will also alert people when something is going wrong just by having it on their hand. We have not launched that yet. But the takeaway is part of this patent has already been used in the different processes to do certain ingredients. So let me say this: clean slate, clean spirits. I'm working on a product called clean water, which is going to be drops that are just for water. All of that was included. So when people are talking to you about clean slate and how it's the same as another product, or what are we doing differently, this is one of the reasons clean spirits and clean slate are different, because I am cleaning it, filtering it, making it as pretty and amazing as possible, but more importantly, as safe and efficacious as possible. So I'm going to stop right now. We're going to go to the next slide. Patrick, I'm going to take questions that people have on this.
Raise your hand if you do have a question.
And just so everyone knows, our marketing department is putting together a list of how we can help you guys from a marketing perspective based on these patents, because technically, once you get a patent approved, you can put the number of that patent on the different formulas. So for example, for clean slate, right now, there's 3 patents, actually 4 patents that have been approved around clean slate. That's why when all of this gossip's going on and everyone's upset, I'm telling you guys, the one product we have so many issues with has the basis of clean slate, and it's because that one product is so important to the world and what it can do to help people. But you guys need to understand, and I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but I want you guys to understand how these products are different. Patrick, I wanted you and Ted on this call because I wanted you all to be able to talk to them about how possibly they could use this patent number when they're talking about our products.
So my first thing that I think about when I see this is it's substantial, I don't want to say proof, but almost like an additional tool that I can utilize, because we always talk about in sales, having an answer to somebody's questions, having a response to somebody's rebuttal, understanding that when you first talk about the products to somebody, you're going to be introducing to them to what the products have done to you personally. I talk a lot about my celiac disease. I know that Priscilla has talked a lot about her children, the impact that it's made on her and her husband, and so on and so forth. What these patents can do is give you an answer to a question that maybe you might not fully know or understand, that somebody can go and do the research themselves, where you're showing them this patent has been approved, permeable, semi-permeable, permeable substrate, right? So this is an additional aspect that you can introduce to somebody that might give you a little bit of pushback when you're talking about the products, or maybe they're saying, well, how do you know it's going to work for me?
Or how do you know it's different from another product? Or how do you know it doesn't have graphene? Because it doesn't have graphene, because the scientists that made this product made it so that she could take out any kind of heavy metal out of the product and make sure that it selectively would be able to release this to the body so it would be bioavailable. Look at the first bullet on this. The patent covers a new type of material that can be used in various industries, such as filtration, separation, and controlled release systems. One of my goals with the root products was to selectively have it released throughout a day so that people would be exposed to the nutrition and the vitamins and minerals and the detoxification or the cleaning of the product instead of it just happening within a 30-minute period. I wanted a controlled release system. And that's another thing that we were able to put into these products. So if you ask me what other products have that in there in the market, I don't know of any. Because again, this was not one patent around Clean Slate, but 4. Not one patent around Clean Spirits, but 5. Not one patent around Relive Greens, but 3. You get my point. We don't just have one patent on a product that makes us different. We have a lot of different things and we're not talking about it enough. And if a scientist says they have a better solution, where's their patent and where's their knowledge and proof? Because there's not a competitor that has this built into any product that I know of. And I want to make sure that you guys understand that when you're talking to people. I think it brings value. Did you guys know that only 7% of the patent holders in the world are women? Only 7% are women. Let that sink in. And I have 7 with over 3,000 claims approved. And the reason that matters is you're not going to find a lot of competitors or competitive products that have anything like this. And you guys need to have confidence in that. And I'm going to speak to the women on this call. That's a huge push for us. And the men on this call, because I know the men in this group care about women. We have these patents approved. This is not patent pending. This is not provisional. This is 100% approved, and they have already been used in what we do with the root products. And I think that's a missing piece that I haven't talked about enough. And Patrick, I think that's the piece I really need to put on YouTube to discuss our products so people understand. So you don't keep having these competitors that are jealous of Clean Slate or jealous of Clean Spirits. And so they make up all this stuff that's incorrect and a lie, right? We've got to get back to the truth. We've got to get back to the proof. It's not easy at all to get a patent approved in the United States of America at all. And we have a lot of them already approved around the products. And that's what we need to start talking about. When you get these disagreements from people, or they're asking how these products are different, this is where we need to go and where we need to discuss it. I don't know if FOD was on the call or any of the doctors, but I would love for them to weigh in on this as well, because again, Patrick, this is not something typical that there's not another company that has anything like this in their nutraceutical supplements that I'm aware of at any point. I don't know of any company that has the patents to get rid of lectin. I don't know of any company that has the patents to do a controlled release system in a nutraceutical or to selectively filtrate or diffuse a substance. So when you guys ask me, how come Clean Slate is able to get rid of toxins, but it also keeps the minerals and the vitamins we need in the system? Because if you create a system that selectively filtrates something in a certain area because of how you've made it, which is what these patents say, then it can do that in the body, and the patents prove that. Let's go to the next slide. So this is a lot of words, and I apologize for that, but I want to go through this. We should have put it into 2 slides, but it's too late. We can give this information out to you guys if you want the whole patent and you want all this information so it can translate. We absolutely can get this for you. And like I said, we're going to start going over all the patents so you guys have talking points, because what we need to do, so for example, Sabine, Nurse Christy, Isabella, we need to take this and put it into terms that everyone understands, right? Because that sometimes can be hard for me. I work at it, but I try. But you guys will do a better job. You really need to digest it, and understand that I used this particular patent with our formulas at Root. I want to point out that this is another point, because you guys are fighting all the time again about Clean Slate. This does show the substrate's permeability is controlled by internal structures within what I've created, and it can be modified depending on what I want to do by various methods. And I did submit all those methods. They were approved. I also did a pore size adjustment. And what that means is I looked at the size and distribution of the pores of the material, whether it was a liquid or whether it was even a substance like a piece of paper or water. And I looked at how do I basically work with the different sizes to make it permeable and make it bioavailable and efficacious and safe. So that's your second point. The chemical treatment, by the way, which I used in our skin defense and I used in the clothing line, talks about it can be treated with chemicals to enhance reduction of its affinity for specific substances. And let me explain that. I wanted to make sure, because remember with Clean Slate, I start with the zeolite and I'd pull out the silica. I wanted to be able to enhance or reduce what I was doing with different chemicals so that it would work in a different way. That's why when you ask me, are Clean Spirits and Clean Slate the same? No, they have a base formula that's a little bit the same, but I changed the pore and chemical treatment so that it works more effectively. I also had to change it when I was dealing with the clothing and the skin defense, because it's different what you want for your skin versus what you take on the inside of your body and clothing. So I was able to adjust the different chemical structures so that it would work as a treatment basis. So it was more permeable, for example, in water, so that it would basically be more bioavailable. I also did something, just so you guys know, that would repel pollution and repel heavy metals and toxins. Let's think about that. Where do we talk about that? Which products, right? So again, you guys have so many points here. If, for example, Sabine wanted to get on the phone with a doctor and have an argument about it, or Bianca did, or Mark wanted to, he would have all the information there. They may want to argue about it, but it was proven that this patent can work and was approved as a scientific advancement for the world. And it starts with the US patent. So I really want to make sure that I point that out. There was also a layering technique that I put in this so that I could do a protection and support internally and outside of the body, as well as with different devices. My goal was to make sure that I created a flexible, basically, formulation that could also protect and create barriers. So after you're filtrating and you're detoxing, you're creating a barrier of protection. So now, rather than me talking about this with you guys, you have the proof that there's a patent that says that this formulation and way of making products can do that. I also did a wide range of flexibility. Just so you guys know, I ended up making medical mask. I did medical wear. I did a ton of stuff around that we have not launched yet. I also did a controlled drug release filtration system for bodily fluids so that we could control, again, the release of either a drug or a nutraceutical, and we could also filtrate out what you didn't want to go into the body. Again, when have we talked about this? Clean Slate, Clean Spirits, Immune Defense Shield. I could go on and on, right? I use different components because if you look at how I wrote this patent, I'm able to do it with permeable and semi-permeable substrates. And I actually also did an advancement where I could do it with anything that had a nanotechnology side, but I do not use nanoparticles in the different formulations. Instead, I'm using basically different pore sizes that are able to be permeable in and out so that the bioavailability works of the product. Water purification. Basically, I created an adjustable permeability so that it would remove contaminants from any water. And that's one of our next products. Along with, I just got approval from Clayton to do a vegan collagen and colostrum, just so everyone knows. So I will be producing that. I'm just letting you guys know, though, where you can hang your hats and what you can say. And like, if I were in your shoes, I would be taking out different parts of this and really talking about it when you're talking about the differences in our product and any other product that has a zeolite or a silica or has a vitamin C. You want to bring in the fact that we do have these patents approved. I I also was able to look at the polymer size and look at different things for blocking contaminants as far as packaging and as far as doing certain materials. We have not used all of those yet, but we are getting ready to go into packaging and into labeling in the manufacturing space. So Patrick, for example, this was one of the reasons that's so important to us, because if you ask me, do the other packaging companies have this? No, they don't. There's not a packaging company we're using. We are the ones that are going to create the dynamic to make the change when it comes to packaging. That's why I'm looking into like certain algae we can package. I'm looking into certain kind of substances that have to do with the vitamin C or vitamin E that we can form in a package instead of it being something that's negative for the environment. I think that's the last slide. Is there another one? Okay. I also am able to do the polymers, the ceramics, and other compositions. So just so you guys know, I was able to come up with different materials that I was able to detox and basically cause a polymer to be healthy and safe in a ceramic, because right now they're really not if you look at them. And I wanted to be able to create materials for housing and for clothing and for people that they could wear. So I took that to the next step. If you look through this again, and I'm just going to bring up a couple more points that I think you guys need to know, because I did a wide range of application, it was termed as a significant advancement to existing technologies that exist in the world. And I think that's something from a structural modification and surface treatment perspective that's really important. This invention did get approved to clean things, for example, and to make sure that surfaces are treated or food is treated in a way that it's safe for people to eat and for people to consume, and to make sure that it's bioavailable to the body. To me, this is one of the most important patents we've had approved because it goes across so many different industries. And I think that we have the opportunity to really change the world with this just one patent. But I'd like to remind you guys, we've already started, because the resources, the brain, whatever you want to call it, that went into this patent went into the formulations of the root products. So that's why I get frustrated when I have to do a podcast or a call with someone that's comparing Clean Slate to their product. There's not another product like that. There's not another product like Clean Spirits. There's not a NAD product like Immune Defense Shield that lasts 2 years. Your crush and your sculpt. Another thing is, one of the ways I'm able to look at structures is understanding what really does go together and how you use it in the right way so that it will impact the body in the most substantial way possible. So while we can't make the claims that we're the only products, we can make the claims, you guys, that this patent and the other patents go behind the root products. And that's where, if they're not added to the labels, if they're not added to the website and marketing, you need to come back to us and say, why isn't this added? Because the truth is, my job is not marketing and sales. My job is science. But if I were in marketing and sales, I would be using these patents to describe our products, because again, no one else has them. No one else in the world has these kinds of patents behind nutraceutical products or skincare or clothing products. All right. All right. I think that's it on this part. Is this information helpful to you guys? And do you understand how to use it is my next question.
Again, a lot of yeses.
So I would love to do a challenge. And I will give $500 to whoever wins next week on how they would use these patents and the wording to describe how our products are different than other products. So if you guys, from a marketing perspective, because I'm just going to say this, I could be the best scientist in the world. And if I wasn't connected to you all, probably nothing would happen. We're all doing this together. So I need your brains to help us in accurately giving you this information and marketing this so that you can use this. So when someone does call you and challenge you on clean slate or relive grains, you have answers to it. The second most important one, I think, is the lectin patent that we'll talk about tomorrow. But I think it's really important that you guys come up with how you will use this. And if you don't, that we help you do it. And then Patrick, on our end, I'm challenging us to get information up on our products and what we're doing as soon as possible so that individuals can use that. I think that if we use this correctly, this will put the end to the arguments on the different products that we're having because of competition and because of people not wanting Root to succeed. I think that this will change everything if we use it correctly.
And I think we should be crystal clear. I don't think there is competition. I'm biased.
Thank you. There's not. Like,
There
here's
is not competition.
there's not another patent, there's not another formula that's able to look at a microscopic level and adjust to how it goes in the body. There's not, that's why when the scientists, when they get me on the phone and they're like, wait a minute, how do you not strip the body of the good trace minerals and the vitamins? And this is one of the reasons I'm capable of doing that scientifically. And I'm sorry if the other scientists that did nutraceutical supplements don't understand the technology. That's not on me. That's not on you all either. The fact is it's approved and it's something that's been used in these products since 2016, 2017, when I designed it. It's just that everybody wants it. And if they can't have it, then they're going to make up a lie about it. But it's hard. You can't make up a lie about a patent. Because the thing is, it took 7 years to get this approved, right? And it took a lot of discussions and a lot of scientific information going back and forth between the U.S. Patent Office and our office. So anyway, I just want to make sure, like, I want when honestly, Priscilla, you get on a phone call, I want you to be able to say, well, we have patents that get rid of lectin and the vitamins and minerals and strip it. And we also have patents that make sure that it adjusts when it goes into the body because it's either permeable or semi-permeable. And we're able to basically go in and adjust different formulas because of how it was made. So it's bioavailable and safe and efficacious. I just have to have you guys help us, though, dial that in to the fact that if it's a mother that's staying home with a child, she understands how important that is. Like, from my perspective as a scientist, the reason that's important is if the formula wasn't made that way, then there's no way to assure safety and efficacy and bioavailability so that it's really working in a system. And that's why this patent was so important, because your body is composed of so many different parts. And the goal is to get it into the body so that it's communicating. When people say to me, do you pass the brain barrier because that's a problem? Here's my answer to that. If it's a nutraceutical, we're not allowed to pass the brain barrier. However, when you're dealing with neurotransmission and you're dealing with different chemicals and different permeability within the body, there's basically this communication that happens from a chemical perspective within the body, right? So you are able to impact the whole body. It's different than just crossing the brain barrier. You're able to basically affect everything in the body, which really leads to your body being as healthy as it can be, which is why we also have the patents to reverse aging and regenerate the skin, hair, and nails. But what I want you guys to have is the patent number. And Patrick, I don't see it on this. They need the patent number and the whole patent, and then they need these points. And then next week, like I said, I want to pick 5 people that can present how they would use this patent when talking about our formulas. And I want you guys to be prepared to talk about it. If you present and you're not chosen, you'll still get $100. If you are chosen to be someone that can talk about these patents that did the best case scenario, you're going to get $500. And that way, next week, Patrick, I will go over the lectin patents. We will have people present. Or Patrick, you could take that off of Root U and put it into the ambassador call, because basically what you want is people to understand the science but to put that into terms where they can talk to customers about it.
I like that idea. Doing it on
Yeah.
Mondays. Oh, yeah.
I think that way you do Mondays, and then I can pop into those calls because I do want to hear the way they want to position it. That way I can correct it if I think we're not saying it right. Because we do want to be honest. We want to be ethical at all times. We want to present the facts. We don't want to argue. Like, my job is to be a leader and a servant. I don't want to argue with other scientists and doctors, but if I need to, I will. Let's just say that if they want to debate my patent with me, they're going to have to go to the U.S. Patent Office. And guess what, everyone? The U.S. Patent Office is not going to take down the patent. It's always going to be up there for 30 years. And then I can pass it on to my children to own for 30 years. But guess who has the rights to this right now? Root. So you guys need to look at this the way it is, which is the truth. You guys own the patent. So let's figure out the way that we can present it to the best of our ability to help the most people in the world. Because let's just say, like, right now I'm filing autism and ADHD, and I'm taking certain parts from this patent and from the lectin patent and the detoxification, as well as all the formulas from the Trinity. And I'm filing those for ADHD and for autism. And our patent attorney said they will get approved. But I think starting with this and how the formulas are different is a way you guys, like, honestly, Patrick, Clay needs to do a video on it. I need to be interviewed on it, right?
Mhm.
And then the group needs to be able to talk about it. Like, in essence, I know this is asking a lot, but like, Priscilla, you got to be an expert on the patent. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to be like, yeah, this is the patent that we have on the products, and take ownership of it, because everything that we're doing is for this community. And you guys need to understand that you own it just like we do. We're all in this together. All right. Let's go on to the next. We have 15 minutes. I talk too much lately. We're talking about preventative healthcare, but before we start, I know we've been having a lot of calls between Dr. Fadwa, John Hayden, Priscilla, Patrick, Ted, all of us really trying to gather this information for the patient registries and for the case studies. So Priscilla, can you give us, or Dr. Fadwa, and again, I don't know if she's on, if you guys can give us a brief summary of what you're working on. And the reason I want you to is because I want other groups to do what you're doing, because it will really help our push to improve healthcare globally.
So I hope Dr. Fatwa is here. So
She
Yes.
usually is, but she also has her parents in work, so I'm not sure she's on today. She
I
usually
don't
is.
Yeah.
see her. I think she's busy today.
Yeah.
There are two things we are working on. The one is the autism case from our son. We just collect all the data and yeah, what we had for medicine paperwork. We just collect everything, and Satweb does this case on the ISCNS. So, do I say it right?
Yes, you did.
And the second case we are working on, the thing is, you know that, Christina, I didn't understand the products when I started using them. So I did this huge survey with my community. So we had 4 surveys where I asked the community, hey, how long do you take Clean Slate, and how are you? What are the benefits? Do you think you detox when you, yes, what are the signs? And yeah, I just did this, Christina, because I don't understand the products and I have to know what's
I
going
know,
on.
but you did a great job. I mean, honestly, Priscilla, I have to say what you did is really how I look at life. Like, if I I have the patents, right? I'm a scientist, so I develop it. But in the end, all I care about is if it's helping my family and my friends and people. Like, because in the end, I know that when Freud did stuff, or when all the scientists in this world that have done advancements, no one understood what they were doing, right? When they did it. But what matters to me isn't even that. It matters how it's helping people. And that's what you did. You collected information and you were able to prove it by, and I really would love for everyone to do what you did, because you saw the results and you tracked the results.
Yeah, yeah, it was really fantastic, because I thought maybe just me and my family, we had this huge success. But then the survey shows that there are a lot of people who has this success, and that gave me also like this inner truth and strength to go forward. And yeah, so it was good for me and the community, for both.
And now we're collecting it, just so everyone knows. So we're working on, she's working with Dr. Fadwa on a white paper literature review, and also basically the case studies and the patient registry. And let me tell you why that's important, because then we're going to move towards what's called a peer-reviewed case study, peer-reviewed literature review. That's what we have to move towards, right? And then we get recognition. So I was just looking over the UAE and India documents to make claims in the United States. And if we can get a peer-reviewed paper, so I've already written a lot of the white papers and the literature. If we get peer-reviewed, which we can with the doctors in our group, then we can make as many claims as we want, as long as it was peer reviewed and we have the data. And having the patents, we can add the patent number on why it's different in the formulation, right? So that when someone says, well, there's another zeolite product out there, or there's another silica product out there, we have the answers, and we don't just have one answer. My goal is so that you guys have so many answers that no one can even dispute what you're saying. We're just not there yet. But with the help of people like Priscilla and Dr. Fadwa and Tiger and Patrick and all of us, we will get there. And that's the encouragement I want to tell you all. We will get there, and we will be different than any other company. We just have to be passionate enough about it to spend our time to do what like Priscilla's doing and Dr. Fadwa is doing, et cetera. So I want to tell you, thank you for that, Priscilla. And if anyone has any questions, Priscilla, make sure you raise your hand so they can see who you are. If they can't, can we pin her or put her information? Anyone that has information or questions, I know Priscilla. And even if you're not in her group, I'm going to speak for her because I know her. I know her. Priscilla doesn't just help people that are in her group or that bring in money. Priscilla helps the world because she wants to. And that's the truth. And yes, that takes time. And yes, that takes a heart. But most of you guys on this phone are like that. So again, if you have any questions about this, please reach out to her. She will be doing a brief talk when she is on stage on the next trip. So you guys will see her on stage talking about some of the things that she's doing, because her heart speaks and her life speaks. So we'll have a couple of you guys, including her, that will be presenting to the group when we travel on the next route visit. I think it's, I never say the name right. It's Schweinfurt.
Schweinfurt.
Dr. Priscilla, we had to do, so you guys, we had to do this video yesterday, and I have a speech impediment. And so no matter how many times I say I have a speech impediment, no one listens to me. And so we were on the floor laughing because between Joy Smallwood and Ted Baker, I couldn't say it. I mean, like I just could. So finally I'm like, guys, we're just going to go with how I said it, and everyone's going to have to be upset with me, but I'm so excited to see you guys. I feel like it's been forever. And so that's been, and then Kosovo, we are going to be able to all get together and really talk about stuff.
We're looking forward to see you and the whole team. It will be amazing.
It will be amazing. And we're excited to see you too and everyone else. So thank you. As far as the preventative healthcare deck, let's go over just a few slides, Patrick, and then I'll end it, and I'll finish it next week when we go through the lectin patent. And then you're going to take from what we're doing. So is everyone clear on the contest we have right now? Marina has a question too, and I think Nurse Christie. The contest, which Patrick, if you want to put it in the notes, because we're not going to drop it. Tiger, we're not going to drop it. We need 5 volunteers. Let's ask for 5 right now. Who's going to volunteer to come up with how we use this patent to really talk about the products? Nurse Christie volunteered. We need 4
Guys, this
more.
is free money. Let's go. Free money. $500.
Priscilla, I knew Priscilla was gonna.
Everybody should be raising their hands.
Where is Birgit?
There, finally, there she is.
We got 2 more. Okay, Rob Lizard Fighter. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Patrick, take those 7 and we will look at their statements on, and I don't mind giving each person $100 and then the winner 500, because we need to come up with these talking points that we can share with the world. And here's what I think. You're all going to say something different, which is good. We'll take that information and we'll come up with a solid plan. I don't know if you guys know this, but Patrick Moen is the Senior VP of Sales and Marketing. So you are in the presence of someone really great that runs that department. And he will be able to determine how we utilize that and turn that around to put it on a website and put it on marketing. But we're going to start using you guys more to help us ensure in the field and you have a pulse on what's going on. Does Nurse Christie have a question? And Martina, and did you get those names, Patrick, who are going to present?
I got those names. Please message me on WhatsApp so we can formulate this and then we'll do it on the ambassador call.
And you may want to have Marty on that call, Patrick, to just, enjoy. We have a new creative director. I think I've told you guys, Joy Smallwood too. So we'll have them. You guys are going to be presenting. Be prepared. Your faces are going to be shown and you guys will be speaking. So be ready for next week. Let's talk about preventative care and we'll get into the rest of it later. So there's all these rules on prevention. We are not allowed to say that we prevent anything unless we basically show information in either a patent, which is why patents are so important, or in a peer-reviewed literature, which is why what Priscilla's doing and Dr. Fadwa and the rest of us are doing with the patient registry are so important. But I would like to talk to you today because preventative healthcare is something I have been focused on for such a long time. Patrick was here during the CEO event and people came in from my past days of running healthcare companies. I used to be a CEO of an interoperative monitoring, neuromodulator, genetic testing company, and research company. And we really looked at preventative care. We would do diagnostics and we would do analytics to see what we should do. And that's where I really became passionate even more about nutraceuticals, because we kept seeing that if you added nutraceuticals, even in genetic testing, that it would alter the genetic test. So I think it's really important to talk about the different strategies. And I want to explain this to you guys, because when people think that I'm for vaccinations, that's not true. I would prefer we didn't have vaccinations. However, vaccinations have saved people in the past. Before we had all these antibiotics and antifungals, it was really something that would really save people's lives. And now we're trying to catch up as a society and really look at when do you need a vaccination and when we didn't. And I want to tell everyone on this phone call, we are very fortunate to be pioneers in that area, because in this company, we are looking at what does a vaccine cause? What are the injuries? And we're tracking it in the registry. So I don't know if you guys know that when everyone says, why are you doing a registry? Well, I want to be able to track when there's an issue. I also want to be able to track if it helps someone. You got to look at both of those strategies because you're really looking at a human life. And I take that very seriously. It's not something that's flippant. It's not something that I have all the answers to. It's something that I feel like we really need to look at, not just for our generation, but for our children. So for example, I know Ted, and he wouldn't mind me saying this, he had to deal with some stuff that had to deal with vaccine injuries for one of his children. And I personally think I did too with my kids. I think it impacted them. Because remember, I had kids that they thought were autistic and had ADHD and they couldn't finish kindergarten, and look at them now, right? But I did a lot of detoxification a lot of cleaning, a lot of prevention. So I want us to start looking at ourselves like the truly what we are, which are pioneers that are really looking at lifestyle modifications so that we can help this world. And that involves the environment, that involves skincare, that involves our bodies, that involves animals. We're really looking at an approach on how we can do this. That's why the genetic tests are so important. So I'm going to stop, because if you guys remember, I asked Patrick last week where we are in genetic test and where we're going to launch it. So I'm going to ask you again really quick, Patrick, where we are and when we will launch that. Do you have a time, Patrick?
Sorry, I was looking at something else. Say that again, Dr. Ram. I apologize.
So no, it's okay. I'm looking at, I asked last week because the preventative care is really important and our genetic test can really help with that. So my question to you is, when will they fully have that so
Yes.
they can discuss it with everyone?
So right now the products just got finished being introduced, and the promotion of what products and what biomarker that you hit, that is done. We are now working diligently to get everything translated into other languages. So we probably will be available to launch that in hopefully before the end of the month is
Perfect.
the goal. The tough part is internationally. And that's really where, because we want to make sure that if we're getting people in Germany and other countries the test, they have
Yeah.
the instructions to take the test in their native language.
Right.
And that's tricky, right? Because taking a swab and swabbing the inside of your mouth needs to be instructions effectively in the native language so that nothing gets missed and that the test doesn't get tampered with, or else you'd have to get a whole new test.
Right. Right. So guys, I don't know if you understand what he's saying, but I want to make sure I clarify. We took a basically preventative genetic test that really is aimed at analytics, diagnosis, prevention. We can't claim it's going to prevent a disease, but it's basically telling you how you need to live, how you need to work out, what you need to eat, how you need to sleep, how you need to do your skincare, all of that stuff. So we're taking that and we're adding the products into that. So let's say, let's say Albert, Albert, let's say you talk to a friend about genetic tests. They're going to get that genetic test that will be available by the end of this month. That's what we're targeting. But then they're going to know based on that test, which products is recommended from our product line. Now they may not use it, but they may go back to it a month later and use it, right? So we really thought it was important to integrate into that which products we recommended per an answer on that genetic test. And that was a huge feat for us. That's a lot of work, right? But the reason we thought that was so important is then you guys not only had a genetic test where you could help people understand the roadmap to their hair, how they should sleep, how they should work out, what they should eat, how they should age, all of that is in that test. We incorporated again our products. So you could see if you have a low answer, for example, on your vitamin D and you're not metabolizing it, what do we recommend? Or if you don't do well with digesting fats, what product do we recommend? It doesn't mean they can't take other products in our product line. What it means is we will be showing them what we do recommend they take per their results. Is there anything else you want to add to that, Patrick?
No, and I think that's more so just infusing our products as something that you can look towards that can help you get back on track, right? Something that you can use. And we always talk about there's other products out there. I use other products, Dr. Ram uses other products, people in the office do, but we also use root products. But it's good when you're recommending this to somebody. Everyone's always looking for what they can use to help them. And when you have a guidance that you fall below and you have a means in which, oh, this can help me, it's just an easy plug-in. And we think that that was worth the heavy lift for us to infuse that into that document.
And exactly, and you're empowering each person, because I want you to look down here. It says public health impact, and it talks about vaccination programs. Do I like that? No. I'm simply presenting where we are right now when your government. So remember, for example, I'm going to Germany and meeting with your government in November with my government. When they look at all of this, they're looking at it on basically what programs they want their people to use. We're looking at this in the root community. How can we step into governments? How can we step into populations and change the dynamic? Like, why isn't there a public health impact that has to do with supplements and wellness instead of just vaccines? Why is that? We can't complain about it unless we change it. Do you guys understand why I have so much passion about this? Because for me, complaining about it doesn't fix everything. And I want to say this one more time to everyone. The strategy of Root, my strategy, is to make long-term changes to this world so we don't have what happened during the pandemic ever happen again. That's the goal. And to do that, we've got to have a steady mind. We've got to present data, and we've got to really not just say things, but do things that change the dynamic of prevention and healthcare, which is why this genetic test is important. It's going to give us the data, it's going to give us information, and we're going to be able to show maybe everyone doesn't need a vaccine. Hey, maybe if they're on natural products, their body is naturally able to fight a virus. Their body is naturally able to fight mold. That's our goal. And that's why I take it so seriously. If you ever see me get defensive, it's defensive because I want us to be the pioneers that change this world. And to do that, we need the facts, we need the information, and we need to do it. And that's why the genetic test and the analytics and our products are important. I am going to end it with this slide, because if you look at this slide, I look at this slide, just so you guys know, I know this is what preventative healthcare is termed at. I want us to change preventative healthcare. Our goal in my mind is to be the company that changes it, because we have products that people can take that really impact their life. And I don't see our products or how we're doing that on this sheet. And let me tell you why. That's because we haven't made a case in the United States or internationally that show how products like ours can change populations and healthcare. And that's the job that I feel like we can do. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, but one person at a time, we can change not just individual personalized care, but a whole healthcare system. And if you say to me, we should just give up because the government's not going to listen, that's not the answer. The answer is to provide data, to provide information, to get it either in the way that Priscilla's getting it, or to get it in the way of a patent, to get it in the way of a research study. Any of those ways, all of those ways are so important to us, and that's where we are. So me being distracted from Root is me working on policies to change healthcare. You guys being distracted from Root should be for the same reason. If you're not focused on these products and how they're going to improve lives, we should be focused on overall populations and lives, and look at that big vision of how we can do that, but start with one person at a time. And that takes work, that takes speaking, that takes being on stage or talking like Priscilla on the call, or like Nurse Christy or Sabine. It takes us stepping up and being willing to have a voice. And I know we can do it. And I'm very, very excited about the path that we're going to get there. So I think that's
Amen
about
to that.
Well, I think I really like when I look at the preventative healthcare plans that the United States has, that Switzerland has, that Germany, they're all very similar, right? And they all include like vaccination programs. And I'm like, where is the wellness program with supplements? Like, where is that program? Because I'm not seeing that program. And our goal is to get that program instituted all over the world, one step at a time. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Reach out to me. We'll be working together to set up the Monday ambassador call so that we can do the presentation and talk about, from a marketing aspect, how we can use the patents. And then Dr. Ram will be doing the preventative healthcare, finishing up that deck on Tuesday for Root U. So thanks so much for joining us, guys.
and doing the lectin patent. One more thing, Wendy
Lectin.
Sims, I agree about the wellness visits for babies. Any of you guys that have root babies and have wellness visit reports, we need those. Guys, I want to do a case series on babies and wellness and write it up. And I would love to present that in Germany. So anyway, I see you, Stephanie. It's good to see you. I have to say this, Stephanie Christina, who's with Henrik. I've known Stephanie for a while, but they were going to call me Stephanie. They were going to name me Stephanie Christina, but instead they named me Christina Jean. So every time I see your name, Stephanie, I smile. And Stephanie and I were also born on the same birthday, so we have a lot of connection. So anyway, have a great day, Stephanie. It's good to see you. And it's good to see the rest of you. I see Sonia and Eleanor and Monica, all of you guys. Thank you, Alfred, Marcus. Thank you for being on, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.